Okay, now. All right, so this evening we are learning the Sikha of the Rebbe in Pasha Lecha, Toshin on Beis, the Dva Malchus of that particular week, and we're learning. The learning is taking place in the Beis Knesset of Tzemach Tzedek, Be'ir HaKodesh Tsfat, Be'ir Atika, and we are on Thursday night, early Yud Chesvan, Toshin Ayin Tez, and we welcome all those who are taking part in the class. Pasha Seino, Pasha Lecha, our Pasha that we're learning this week, Pasha Lecha, Misapiras al Tkufosei Shel Avram Avinu. It tells us and informs us about the period or the era, as we might call it, of Avram Avinu. Ha-Yehudi HaRishon, that Avram Avinu was he was the first Yid. In other words, the actual Matthias of a Yid per se, Avram Avinu was the first. As is well known, that he began the whole Seder, what we call Yahadus, Akshos, began with Avram Avinu. So he says, and we're told in the Parsha, Ala Tzivoi Harishon Shuitz Taver Me'akodesh Baruch Hu. Avram Avinu was a great and tremendously active figure and tremendously active figure in human history prior to this parsha. And he was active in spreading Elikus in the world and so on and so forth. But he didn't have a direct commandment or direct mitzvah from Hashem until the beginning of this parsha. And so we're told about the first actual direct dialogue in the form of a mitzvah between Hashem and Avram Avinu, and that is Lech Lecha. That's the first mitzvah. Yeah, that is Lech Lecha. That's the first mitzvah. Yeah, and then we're told on the Siyosei B'Poyo L'Eretz. Then the parsha deals with the actual traveling of Avram Avinu B'Poyo Mamish into Eretz Yisrael. How he actually was Mekayim, the tzivui and the commandment of Hashem. And then we're told further, Alav Toches HaKodesh Baruch Hu, shortly after Avram Avinu reached Eretz Yisrael and he entered Eretz Yisrael, then HaKodesh Baruch Hu promised him, Loses li'Avram es ha'oretz, HaKodesh Baruch Hu promised to give him Eretz Yisrael, and not only to Avram Avinu, but to all of his descendants for all the generations to come. In other words, to the Jewish people, a everlasting promise of Eretz Yisrael to Avram Avinu. The Krisis Brias, and also the Torah tells us that Hashem made a covenant. Had he called a establishment of a permanent agreement, which is called in the Torah a Bris. We'll talk about that more as we go along. And that was in the Bris Bein Haba Besorim, that he led Avram Avinu between the two halves of the Behema, and he promised him that he would give him Eretz Yisrael, Lecho, Ulezaracho, Ad Olam, forever. There was an everlasting promise. And together with that, and following that, there was also the tzivui of the bris milah. And that's what he says now, the Rebbe, that the parsha, the siyum ha-parsha, at the completion of the parsha, what the bris bein of Asorim is not far from the end, but however, the actual siyum of the parsha is a masupah al mitzvahs bris milah. We find that Hashem commanded Avram a further mitzvah. In other words, apart from the mitzvah of Lech, me'atzecho, me'ladetecho, v'cholu, there then occurs a further mitzvah right at the end of the parsha, and that's the mitzvah of bris milah, of Avram Avinu becoming the first yid to make a bris. Shenasa, l'rishayna, alidei Avram Avinu. The whole mitzvah of bris milah was carried out, first of all, by Avram Avinu. He was the first yid to model himself. Ubechach, nikras abrias nitchias, and through that, and in that, in the etzem expression of the bris milah, there was established or cut literally a bris everlastingly, a bris nitchias, Shalakori Baruch Imam Yisrael Brisi Bivasachem Lebris Oilon. That the bris milah became a bris in your flesh, in the flesh of all Yidden, and it became a everlasting bris. In other words, that it was an establishment of a eternally permanent bris. Between the Eibishter. And the point here is, and the Rebbe points it out in the Sikha, the point here is that the majority of mitzvahs, I think we could say close to all of them, once you've done the mitzvah, it's not necessarily recognizable on your physical material makeup that you just did that mitzvah. Maybe after you take out your tefillin, one can see the marks on you for a short while, but it's not something to remain. However, the mitzvah of milah is very rare in the fact that once you've done the mitzvah of milah, it remains a sign on your body for the rest of your life. In other words, that's a very remarkable sign of this covenant that HaKadosh Baruch Hu fixed with the Jewish people, that they would carry a sign of their connection to Him physically in their bodies, which could be noticed physically on the body of a Yid. Therefore, it's very interesting. The Rebbe brings that the Goyim are also aware of the fact of the bris milah, and they react to it in different ways, but they all know that if you have that particular sign on your body, then you're connected with Yidden, or you've been affected by the example of Yidden. I mean, there's nowadays quite a lot of Goyim that are, also circumcised, or that's due to the effect of the Jewish approach that has gone down through history, and they've taken it up medically. But unfortunately, there's one part of the world at the moment where there's problems, and that's in Sweden. They periodically make trouble about, although that's rare. It's not usual, at least in the present world. And the Rebbe said that's another way that Yidden have affected the whole world. That the bris milah is something that is recognized and apparent to all the Umas Ha'ilon, and they inquire, what is it about? And so they have an indirect effect in their whole way of thinking by the fact that you didn't carry that bris. And that itself is a covenant between Hashem and them. In addition to the covenant of the etzem milah itself, the Eibishter promised also Eretz Yisrael. Yeah, so he said, "B'kivan she'elohim advarim harishonim, amasuparim b'Torah ha'Avram Avinu, shemimenu gia kol Am Yisrael kuloi." Since these inyanim, says the Rebbe, are things which are told about our forefather Avram Avinu. Why is he called our forefather? Because from him derived the whole Jewish people. Then it's Movan im Cain. It would make sense to say that all of this, Kol Zeh Mevate is Atochen HaKloli Shel Kol HaTorah V'Hayav is because since Avram Avinu is the father, not just, how do you call it, biologically, he's the father of the Jewish people, but he's the father that he started and started moving the whole inyan of Yahadus, and Yahadus means the way of living of the Jewish people. All this was founded by Avram Avinu. So if these are the things that the Torah chose to tell us, it could have told us a lot more. Avram Avinu lived 75 years before this. And he did a lot of things. But we find, for whatever reason that may be, that very little is said about that. But the things that he does, the Torah does actually tell us about, are mostly what's mentioned in this week's parsha. So the Rebbe said in Cain they must have very general significance and importance to the whole Torah and to the whole Yiddishkeit, which came from Avraham Avinu to the Jewish people. So we need to understand what is that all about. Echel mi Avraham Avinu, says the Rebbe, beginning from Avraham Avinu, Echela Tkufa Shel Hachona L'Matan Torah. It's well known, and it's brought down in the Kisvei Arizal, in the work by Rabbeinu Chaim Vital called Likutei Torah, not to be confused with the Alter Rebbe's Likutei Torah. Oh, this is in the Sefer Likutei Torah of the Arizal. He says that when Avraham Avinu obeyed the tzivui of Hashem to go out of Eretz Israel, he started off and he made possible a divine yichud between the spheres, which led eventually to Matan Torah. Prior to Avraham Avinu, it wasn't there. There were all the spheres, but they were not united, and they didn't have what's called, according to the Kabbalah, zivugim, in the way that they do representing Matan Torah. So where did it start? How did it get started? So the Rizal writes that it began when Avraham Avinu listened to the commandment of Hashem to go out. That's when it began forming this yichud, which led eventually to the possibility of Matan Torah. So from now it appears, and there's another statement of our sages in the Gemara in Masechta Sanhedrin that there's like 6,000 years, and there's 2,000 years of unsettledness, toyu, then there's 2,000 years of Torah, and then there's 2,000 years of Yemaisa Mashiach, like preparation for Mashiach. So the 2,000 years of Torah began with that moment that Avraham Avinu was Mekayim the mitzvah of Lecha. So we see that the whole infant Torah and its revelation in the world begins with Avraham Avinu. So that's a very significant union, and we need to sort of deepen ourselves and inquire into that. How was it? What's the connection? Why did that start off Matan Torah? So he says, "Echela tkufa shel hachona l'Matan Torah. Tkufa zu itchila b'miyuchad meyad shakadosh Baruch Hu shiva oisai. Kadosh Baruch Hu gave him the commandment, Lech me'at v'zu hi gam hasiva l'chak שהתורה מתארת בעיקר את פעולותיו של אברהם אבינו רק לאחר הציווי לך לך. So the Rebbe suggests a possible answer why all of Avraham Avinu's life and his tremendous achievements, are not told in the Torah. And only from now on we start talking in detail about Avram. So he said, because Lech is the beginning of the Torah, and the Torah is a Sefer Torah. The Torah is concerned with the Torah. His whole effect on the whole world, when he get to Torah, only began from Lech. And therefore the Torah sees it fitting only to talk about that period of his life. And that's what the Rebbe says, that that's the reason that the Torah begins to talk in detail about the actions of Avraham Avinu, after he's been given this commandment to go out. He said, Avraham Avinu, ben shivim v'chamei shana. And all the shivim v'chamei shana, he didn't sit around and twiddle his thumbs, Avraham Avinu. He was very, very active. He achieved an immense amount, and he also made publicity in a big way of the oneness of Hashem and Hashem's creation of the world, etc., etc. The reason why we begin telling in detail from Lech on further, because Lech was the beginning of Torah. It's the beginning of how Torah was made possible to reach the world. And that's the Ikar of Sefer Torah. Therefore, it begins in detail with that thing. Bora, it's clear, Shekol Dova, but Torah, it's clear that everything that is in Torah, Mahave Hoirua, Lekol Am Yisrael, B'Kol Hazmanim. It's one in the Zohar Kodesh, in Parsha Baloisha. So you guys don't feel hot.
Yeah, it's hot in here.
It's very hot. Maybe all can't dance in the day. Yeah, isn't it? What we have at the moment is a chamsin. It's like it can be chamsin the whole time. And that is, unfortunately, holding back the movement of air which brings the rain. It like sort of sits, the chamsin sits on the hills and it prevents the movement. That's why it is one day after the other, hot and then a little bit cool at night, but it's the same thing the whole time. Because it's a chamsin. And in the Americas, it's very, very hot and stuffy. Because the chamsin sits on them, yeah. Anyway, Hashem Shalom, that we need a breakthrough in quite a few things. So Hashem Shalom, we have a breakthrough in that regard also. So, the Rebbe says that the word Torah is from Lashon Hoirua. Torah is a word based on to instruct. And therefore, the Torah is an instruction to Yidden in all the generations, all the time that will come. So the Rebbe said, Lecha asks itself the question, Ma nekoya lanu liacha matan Torah achivui lech lecho shehu yarach hachona lematan Torah. Ma shehoyo hoyo. So the Rebbe said, that's really wonderful, and everything is fine. But Matan Torah didn't begin with Avraham Avinu. He began the Hakona to Matan Torah. But in the meantime, we, all the generations to come, are after Matan Torah. So what is it important for us to know what Avraham Avinu did as a Hakona to Matan Torah in his time, when we're already a long time after Matan Torah? What sort of connection do we have with this whole? Why do we need to read in the Torah and make a blessing and get all involved in Lech Lecha? That was only a preparation for what we have already generations after. We're already a long time after. So the Rebbe said, Hatzivui Lech Lecha Achona. Mashu hoya hoya is an old saying in the Gemara. Maida hava hava. The Gemara said, "What's the point of just telling me stories? Whatever was, you know." We need to know, what do we need to know now? So he says, what do we learn from all this now in the Golus? So therefore the Rebbe said, this question becomes even stronger in presence of the fact שבכל שונה, בשבס פרשת Lecha, יש לחיות מחודש עם האחרונה למתן תורה. That's what it's one on the principle of the Alter Rebbe, that you have to live with the Pascha Shavua, and that's moving that every time you live with the Pascha Shavua, you have to live better and more fulfillingly than you did the year before. Otherwise, what's the point of it all? So therefore, we've got to keep all the time and every year, we've got to live Michadash with something which is only a hachona. It's only a preparation for something which has already been a long time ago in history, and we are the resultants of that. And so what are we doing the whole time, cocking ourselves and trying to be better about something that's not really nogea to us? So he says, כיוון שעוז מסר מחודש ציווי זה כאחרונה למתן תורה, והדור תמוה, מה זה נגיע לנו בהימצאנו כבר לאחר הסיום והשלמה של מתן תורה? We're not only after מתן תורה, but the whole completion of מתן תורה, and מתן תורה has been working generation to generation for a long time. What is it important to us? A hachona. And why do we make such a tremendous Indian? We have to relive a thing that is not really would appear shayach talano, in our daily life. So the Rebbe says, "Ashayla mishchazekes od yoter." The question becomes even stronger. Shemikiv shebachol yom mishchadeshes nasinas haTorah. So the Rebbe says, it's well known that not only every day the creation is renewed, but every day the Torah is renewed. The Torah is given to us every day, michadash. And like we say in the morning, Baruch atah Hashem noisein haTorah. We don't say Baruch atah Hashem nosan lanu Torah. No, the actual blessing expresses itself in noisein haTorah, which means that presently and ongoingly Hashem is giving us from the new, not just the creation, but the purpose of the whole creation, which is the Torah. And he said, V'haraya shonu muvochim kol yom noisein haTorah ko'esh. That's the way we do it. He gave us now the Torah. Omekiven shem ma'alim b'kodesh. And since there's a klal in the Gemara, the Gemara brings it, but again to Nerosh Chanukah and other inyanim, that we have a klal of ma'alim b'kodesh. In things of Kedusha, you must always be going upward. You must be always increasing. That means in the giving of the Torah to Yidden, every day there's an aliyah in Torah. How much more so in the general time when we celebrate the actual giving of the Torah, and then b'vadai the whole Torah comes to us chadash. For example, on Parsha Yisroi, we read the Sadibras, and on Parsha Beschon, we also read Yosef. Every day there's an aliyah, but when there's a special reference to the giving of the Torah, that means an aliyah, special on that particular time. Umikak, Boru, Shanu, Kwanim, Choim, Badag, El Yoina, B'Yoysom, Yaz Matan Torah. Which means that our Matan Torah is all the time ongoing by us in a way of aliyahs the whole time. So that what the Yidden received at Sinai compared to what we live every day in our Matan Torah is different. We're on a different level of advanced aliyahs in Matan Torah in relation to that. I feel the people who were there at Sinai. What do we need to learn about what a person called Avraham Avinu did as a preparation for the first Matan Torah? We're incomparably higher than the first Matan Torah. So what he did to prepare for them, what is it relevant? Let's say that maybe there were a few people, and there were a few of them, like you have Dasan, Vaviram, and all these sort of people. There were a few people, even amongst the people that got out of Mitzrayim. You have to hold your head like that?
Yeah, I'm not feeling well at all. Sorry about that.
People who got out of Mitzrayim, that they were a little bit not so into the whole, of the teaching of Moshe Rabbeinu. So maybe for them, they didn't receive the Torah very much anyway. So maybe they don't have all these aliyahs in the Torah. And maybe we need to tell for them the whole story. So the Rebbe said that's a pretty distant idea. It's hard to learn that way. So the Rebbe said, "Kvar lo zakukim lachachon l'matan Torah, mikivat shematan Torah kvar po v'ishpia al kol ha'olam kuloi mibli lishchashiv b'madrigosai." The Rebbe said, as the Torah goes on, just like when it was originally given, the Torah didn't say, "Listen, I'm coming down into this world only for those who are listening to me carefully." Whoever you were, was brought down, and even the birds and etiquette, even animals and reptiles were aware of the fact that the Torah was being given at Sinai. Yeah? Everybody heard the Torah, which means that there might have been certain people that they weren't all that particularly ready, but they heard it, and so the aliyahs which are occurring in the Torah the whole time are also relevant to them. Yeah. So we've gone incomparably different than it was. Even those people, whether they want it or not, they're also on a higher level. So what is this whole story of what was only a preparation for way back at the time of Sinai? What do we need to know it for? That's basically the question. In other words, this whole big, tremendous storm that's made about Lech, if you think about it carefully, it says that it's not really tremendously shaykh elenu. So the Rebbe said, "Atshuva lekach." What is the answer to that? When you think about it, very tremendously well thought question. I mean, when you think about it, it's a very amazing, basic question. He said, "Davke mipnei shebechol yom ubechol shona oilem me'ashlav hakodim b'matan Torah l'shlav na'alei v'chador." So the Rebbe said, "Davke," because every day and every year you're going up higher in the whole union of Matan Torah. Like we pointed out, that Noisein HaTorah is a Lashon Hoivei. And that's the blessing we make in the morning, which means that every day we have literally a new Matan Torah. And it's brought down in the Chassidus about it at great length. Every day is like a new Matan Torah. So every day we're undergoing a aliyah in the Torah, which is like a new Matan Torah. As if so, every day you're undergoing a preparation for a new Matan Torah. As you came, it's of great relevance to you to know how did the first Jew prepare himself for Matan Torah. In other words, it's important for you to know that you've got to prepare yourself and how to go about doing that. So that is a way to answer the question. So he said, "L'shlav na'alei yoter chadash yeh me'ashlav hakodem." V'lochen yesh tzorah b'hakona mukdemas. You have to make a preparation every day kedei lagia l'shlav hagavoya yoter, in order to go to the higher step and the higher level in Torah that you're gonna I need to look on beyond there, it varies on a day compared to a general day like Shavuos, but it's all aliyahs. And we're going up higher the whole time. It's all a new Matan Torah. When you think about it, it's very mind-boggling that literally we have Matan Torah every day. It's true that Matan Torah began in Sinai, and everything is, you do the famous cloud that Kol HaScholes Koset to start off, therefore needed a tremendous impetus in order to bring the Torah into the world. But once it did, it like reoccurs the whole time. That whole amazing giving of the Torah is the whole time going on. In Cain, every day, you're supposed to have a hachana. You're supposed to prepare yourself for what is literally in your life a new Matan Torah is taking place every day. So that's a pretty demanding thing. Therefore, it's brought down in Tzfat. That's one of the reasons that we have to pray every day. We've got to prepare ourselves, particularly when we say Kriyat Shema. That's like one of the big preparations of the Adam to receive the Torah Mechadash. Says the Rebbe, we got to know how to prepare ourselves to meet the new Torah which we're getting on that day. So the Rebbe said, Zui Mashmoy Zamasupa, this is the significance of what is told to us. Shematmas Kol Dibur, Sha'omar Karibo, Matan Torah, Pocham Nishmosam, Shal B'nai Yisrael. So the Rebbe makes here an amazing point, and that is that it's brought down in the Gemara in the Sugya of Matan Torah that the Eibishter, when he spoke, the Aseret Sadibras, it had such an amazing effect and an amazing impetus on each Jew that it caused his neshama to literally fly away from his body. It's caused the neshama to be'ela and fly away. Are we on the same basis over there? You seid mit uns? Aber Meila, kommt euch, that every time the Abraham said one of the 10 Dibres, then all the Jewish souls flew out of their body. So then I said, what does it mean that the Neshama flew out of the body? What was happening? So you know what the Rebbe says, an amazing idea. He says, why did the Neshama left the body? Because when it heard that particular statement from Hashem, it reached the perfection of all that it felt it could achieve inside the body. And it made an immense personal connection with Hashem, and it saw in that a tremendous divine, fulfilled perfection. As in Cain, Neshama had nothing more to do in the body in its opinion. So what did it do? It just took out. So the Rebbe said, that every day, when you're preparing for Matan Torah, you've got to reach a certain perfection that was expressed through the fact that the neshamas left the body. You've got to reach a level of very high preparation. Yeah, Pochanish Muslim shall b'nai Yisrael, Uleyachim Yikach HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but after that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought it back to them. He gave after each. So it follows that according to what the Gemara tells, it was quite an amazing Seder. When the Avish said the first Dibur, all their neshamas left their bodies, and then he personally brought it back into the body to hear the next Dibur. When they heard the next Dibur, they took off again, and then he brought it back into their bodies, and he started talking again to Avish, and then further it took off. That's what's written in the Gemara. So the Rebbe said, after the first time around, after the first Dibur, the neshama went out, Hashem brought it back to us. He brought back the neshamas through the medium of Tal Mechayim Eizem. It's written that Leosit Lovi, when Hashem will bring back the Mesim, he's going to do it through Tal, a certain level. We've got to go through the Achon of Lecha in order to get to this whole new thing that we're going through. So that means that you've got to know Lecha. I'll be in that gufa, you've got to do it better each time. You're going to have to do Lecha on a better way each time. And each year when we read it in the Torah, it could incomparably better. Or, immeasurably better than what you did it every day. So now the Rebbe says there's a new factor which we have to bring in here, which so far we haven't gone into, but that's very important to bring it into the picture, and that is the whole inyan of Eretz Yisrael. And we see that Avraham Avinu wasn't told just to go out from where he was. He was told to go to a very special place. And he had to go to Eretz Yisrael. And as soon as he gets into Eretz Yisrael, he moves short journeys into Eretz Yisrael. All of a sudden Hashem appears to him and says, this is your land, I'm giving you this land, forever and to all of your generations and this and that. But that would tend to indicate that the whole Aveda of Lech as a preparation for Matan Torah, the whole time, is connected with the promise of Eretz Yisrael, and they have an organic connection, one to the other. And later we're going to find another big tzivui, which is Mila, as he mentioned, the Rebbe. And Mila is also connected with Eretz Yisrael. The Rebbe says, as a schar for the fact that you're going to keep the Mila, I'm promising you an even stronger promise, the whole inner Eretz Yisrael. So we need to sort of get some picture and shape up in our minds what is the connection of Eretz Yisrael here? How does Eretz Yisrael so organically knit into this whole picture? We have to first of all go back, says the Rebbe, and begin about the promise of Hashem al Eretz Yisrael. Hashem made a promise to Avraham Avinu and to all the Jewish people. Where it's, you don't have any more? That's it.
No, we have to go to the other side.
Everybody have it?
Yeah.
Need more copies?
No, just flip it over.
I have turned over.
Yeah. Everybody knows that.
Turned it over.
Yeah, he did it.
Space turned over.
Yeah.
You already turned it?
Yeah.
Behektem, says the Rebbe, that we got to understand the promise of Eretz Yisrael. But Parsha Seinim is super. In the Parsha, we're told, Shalom, Niknas l'Eretz Yisrael, v'Kodesh Baruch Hivtiach Osei, Loi Ulazarei. Yeah, just shortly after he entered Eretz Yisrael, after he was Mekam the Tzivui of Lecha, the Kodesh Baruch Hu appears to him and he says, oh, yes, you're the man, you and all of your descendants are going to get this land. If they're going to get Eretz Yisrael. The Imkain, Gam Noise Zeh, Choizo Mesoyer Mechadosh, Yebekol Shona. Imkain says the Rebbe, if everything in the Torah is renewing itself the whole time, every day and every year, then this Havtocha about Eretz Yisrael, which I think is very, at this particular moment in Jewish history, it's very, very important. We talk about it. Yeah, there's, unfortunately, there's a lot of, maybe some individuals who are not aware of how important that is. But anyway, whatever. So it says the Rebbe, we have to, in this particular inyan also, know that it's coming and reoccurring also, the whole year, just like the Torah and Matan Torah is. Because as a parsha, once we read the parsha, we recreate this whole situation. Ulachoyra, says the Rebbe, it's the same sort of question we asked before. Achareisha Kodesh Baruch Hu Hivtiach LaAvraham Shelacho Nosati Esod. And not only I intend giving it to you, I've already given it to you. It's already yours. But Achareish Avraham Ovoli, Ocho, Ularakbo, She'eretz Yisrael. Avram, walked around. Hashem said to him, you should walk around on the length and the breadth. And according to one opinion in the Gemara, just the very fact that he did that, with that he made what's called a chazokah on Eretz Yisrael, and it was all became his just by walking around. That's called a kinyan chazokah. That means that the whole of Eretz Yisrael passed, the Lashon Oba, it already passed into Avraham Avinu's ownership. Of Eretz Yisrael. And for sure, and even more strongly, after the conquering the first time round by Yeshua, when they came back to Bayit Sheni, together with Ezra Seiva, there they made a chazakah. According to the Rambam, they made a very strong chazakah when they came back. As he came, Mahu HaMashmoes HaMaisis HaAkshoviyah. What is the present and practical significance of this whole story to us? Yeshav Halikas Avraham Avinu Lichnois Eretz Yisrael Achrei Sheikva Nitno Hikva Shavanu. Eretz Yisrael has been given to us, was given to him, and automatically passed into our possession, since where he's done it. In came, we already have Eretz Yisrael. Just like we said, well, it's the same basic question. Just like the Torah is already given to us, what do we need a preparation every day? And so the similar question is, what is all this? Eretz Yisrael is already ours, and it's already generations after it became ours. What is the up-to-date story about the fact that every year we read that Avraham Avinu was promised? So what has it got to do with us? So the Rebbe says, the answer to that is, Shekol Esa HaRotzei, Shehuvtechu Lanu Alidei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If we look in the Bris Ben Abasorim at the end of the parasha, then we see HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised 10 peoples and 10 literally pieces of land owned by 10 people to Avraham Avinu. And going over here into Eretz Yisrael and conquering the Eva HaYadim, we've only given to 7.5. Oh, that means that there's literally another 3 peoples that we haven't, or 2.5, that we haven't taken yet. And that's what's written, that there's 3 peoples called the Kenizi, Akeni, Kadmoini. Yeah, it's put down in the Parsha, it's written. That Hashem promised him 10 people, and Lapoya we only got 7, which means that we haven't yet finished the conquering of Eretz Yisrael. We haven't yet taken over the whole Eretz Yisrael, which was really given to us. Whatever may be the reasons, there are all sorts of reasons are given why that is. And when Moshiach comes, the Rambam writes Mufuri, that we're only going to be able to make the final 3 Ori Miklot when the Moshiach, and the Rambam calls him HaMelech HaMoshiach, will come, and he will take over the other 3 countries called Keni, Keniza, Kadmoini, and they will add to the 7 that we have already. Then we'll be able to make another 3 Ori Miklot. That's another question. What are we going to need Ori Miklot of Moshiach? That's another. Aber auch upon him, kommt Islam that we're still working towards the full taking over of the full Eretz Yisrael that we were promised. Even to this day, we haven't taken it over yet fully. So the Rebbe says, kommt Islam Shekol Esa HaRotzei Shehuvtechu Lanu Alidei HaKadosh Baruch Hu L'roi Vadeas Gam Nitnu Oz. And according to most great Meforshim, they were given to us at the Bris Ben Abasorim. It's just for all sorts of reasons we haven't taken them over yet. Or they were given when Avraham Avinu was given the whole Eretz. Yeah, Keshurei Zuba Zu, that they're connected one with the other. Come on, they're all part of the same Eretz. O Mekivaship Bezman Yeshua, O Beis Hamikdash, Bezman Ezra. Exiko b'nei Yisrael b'sheva rotzos l'kol yoter. Yeah, they only have 7 countries, the most. Yeah, v'loi b'shloisha rotzos shiyu shalanu rak b'geula. It's only Mashiach, like the Rambamites will give us the other 3. Yeah, im kein chosa dain b'kinyan kol Eretz Yisrael. Im kein, we haven't finished the possession of the whole Eretz Yisrael, and that's only going to be when Mashiach will come. It will gain these 3 other, it's, how do you call it, Ammon and Moav and Edom. That's the people who are there nowadays. And there's all big beer and sitters about it. Well, we haven't started that yet. So the Rebbe said, we haven't taken over the whole Eretz Yisrael yet. If that's the case, then we need to, as it were, be continually preparing ourselves for taking over Eretz Yisrael, and we need to remind ourselves and to strengthen our connection with Hashem's promise that He's going to give us Eretz Yisrael. Because Mamish, He hasn't given us yet. He's given but only the majority of it. We're not the last 3 great portions. Imken, we're holding still in the middle of purchasing Eretz Yisrael. If so, we have to know, what did Avraham Avinu do to prepare himself? And he underwent the promise from Hashem to get that we need to know that today as well. It's not just a story that happened. Anyway, I don't know if you guys are really into it, what's going on around here, but this is very, very profound stuff. So the Rebbe said, Im kein choser adayim b'kinyan shekol Eretz Yisrael. We haven't yet taken over the whole of Eretz Yisrael. Yeah, hu adova b'negel Yehudim sheberetz Yisrael. It's also important to the Jewish people. Yeah, so because there's a din that in order to carry out all the mitzvahs, which are going to be the case when Mashiach comes, you have to have all the Jewish people in Eretz Yisrael. Kol Yeshua Aleihom. So the Rebbe said when Yeshua came in, then all the Jewish people were in Eretz Yisrael. And for a certain time afterwards, it was also like that, up to Shlomo HaMelech period. And after Bais Rishon, for most of the time of Bais Rishon, all the Jewish people were living in Eretz Yisrael. After that, there was like the beginning of the spreading out and the whole mice with the 10 tribes and everything. That began to happen. So no longer were we all the people. So the Rebbe said, in order for us to take over the other 3 countries, we're going to have to all return and be in Eretz Yisrael. So the Jewish people, it's very important for them. They're going to have to all, they come from all over the world. And the Rebbe said, when Mashiach comes, all the generations are going to come back. So it's going to be a tremendous, I don't know if you guys, maybe we should have put a big bottle of whiskey or something, not whiskey, vodka. Everybody should take. I don't know if you guys realize that the Rebbe says that when HaMelech HaMoshiach, that's what the Rambam is very medayach. He doesn't call him Melech HaMoshiach, HaMelech HaMoshiach. Everywhere the Rambam uses that. But that's of interest, but it's not the place to go and do it. So when HaMelech HaMoshiach will come and complete his time, this whole place is going to be full of trillions of Yidden. All the generations are going to come back. Amen. We're all going to be together. Yeah, no, so the Rebbe said, that's Negev to the Jewish people. They're going to all have to travel around and move and come, both from their graves of all the previous generations, and the present generation is going to have to come from Madagascar or Canada, but everybody's going to have to. It's Negev to everybody physically to know that. So therefore, says that the preparation for Eretz Yisrael is a very real thing that's going on the whole time. And therefore, you need to know what did Avraham Avinu do when he was preparing to take it over, and all the promises that he got from Hashem are very Negev, because they haven't been completed even for us yet. V'lochein, says the Rebbe, Bora, שגם כהי שישנו צורך ללכת Lech says, the truth of the matter is that if people really had Seichel, you hear Banshee? If people really had Seichel, what they would be doing, they would all come in there and they'd say, listen, I'm sorry, guys, but this belongs to us. I said, we're taking over. I'm sorry. No, I don't like it. Okay, we'll have to push you off, but we're going to be Matliya very swiftly. The trouble is, they hide and they drop a little bomb here and they give in to them here. Even though it looks the way it is, unfortunately. Yeah. But really, says the Rebbe, what Yidden should really be doing, both in the and all over, they should be saying, I'm sorry, but the whole of Eretz, including the Kani, Kniji, B'Kadmai, it's all out. And if we said it in the name of Hashem, nobody would, ultimately, nobody would make any trouble. And the Rebbe says, Mufudis in the sea, I can show you, the Rebbe says that the Goyim are going to give back Kine, Kadmoini, but Ratzoinam Hatoi, they're going to give willingly and happily the whole of Eretz Israel to the Jewish people, because they will realize what is going on. It's not going to be an unpleasant business, which means that if you stand firm, ultimately the Goyim are happy. You follow? Why are they not happy, says the Rebbe? Because you keep giving in to them, and it's not good for them. That's all. So don't talk about whatever. I don't want to sort of get into a possible suspicion that this lesson is also political. Is that not chas v'sholem. It has nothing to do with politics. What I just said is implied in the Rebbe Sikha and all of the Rebbe Sikha. So it's not got nothing to do with politics. So the Rebbe says we all should go to Eretz Yisrael in order to take over Eretz Yisrael. Kikos mantra in biyodeno es kol ha'eser. As long as we don't have the whole 10 lands, adayin anu bitzum eshel kinyan. So we're still, as it were, awaiting the full kinyan on Eretz Yisrael. V'nidrus mitanu lech lecho me'atzecho. Oh, Lignite is called we gotta also make a Lech Lecha in order to be ready to get the whole 10 countries. Mamish, when I get Mamish Akshav, that's what the Rebbe said. It's Nagia Akshav. Yeah, but all the generations, the Jewish people were longing. The Rebbe says, Yidna v'tzipul aleches v'liknais es kol ha'tzru b'gula shleima. The Rebbe said, Yidden have been waiting for generations to go over and take over the whole of Eretz Yisrael with Moshiach. And that's Yina, chachalei b'chol yom sheyovi. I wait every day that he should come. Yeah. I'm ready for Moshiach. Yeah, but imiyuchet ka'eish le'achas shekvar osu tshuva. The Frierdiker Rebbe says that Yidden have done tshuva. They need to do, the Gemara says you have to do tshuva. So the Frierdiker Rebbe said Yidden have done tshuva. But if he called us Simoni Dorein, who Deira Geula, everything indicates that our generation is the generation of the Geula. Movan shetvikim liyeish muchonim b'poyo. We're going to be ready. B'poyo l'kablas ha'esa ha'rotei. Sheim Nachaloseinu, Miyaz Bris Bein Abesorim. And Bris Bein Abesorim was even before the Milah. That was the Avram Avinu, when he was only young, after 75, 75 plus. Ukaish Nakabal Aishom, Miyumas Oedom, Leloi Milchama. And the Rebbe said if we really wanted, and we would talk the right way, we could get the whole 10 land. From all the good, without war and without struggle. You don't realize what the Rebbe is saying. That if you really spoke and approached the whole thing the right way, the Goyim would say, except for a few Meshach Goyim. And they would be wiped off the map by the majority of the world. It's mamish amazing. And therefore, we got to know what Avraham Avinu did to get those promises and prepare himself and all of his generations. We got to do it. We got to relive that because we're holding Mama's blood. Isn't that amazing? Oh. And then later on, the Rebbe said, since Matan Torah is connected intimately with Eretz Yisrael, there's also going to be a new whole inyan in Matan Torah. When we get back to Eretz Yisrael, when Mashiach comes and takes us all in, he's going to give us a whole new Torah. Not a new Torah, but a new revelation of Torah altogether. And you got to prepare for that. You got to say Lech, Lecha. And you got to be ready for that. And exactly what is the union of Lech Lecha? Maybe you mentioned briefly when we bring for a few minutes, we say Lechaim. Or maybe sort of give us some just quick picture of what does it mean, Lech Lecha? What is the big speciality of that event? Okay, so everybody doubtless will go home with a renewed determination to live the inyan of the Geula.
There is a moshel in Chasidus that we in this generation are polishing the buttons of Moshiach. But the buttons of Moshiach. The buttons on his coat. The buttons.
Polishing the buttons.
Have you heard of this moshel? Can you hear me? You can't hear.
Polishing the button.
Where do I go? The button.
Moshiach is buttons.
The button.
Button.
Polishing the buttons of Moshiach.
Yeah, the Tzedek Rebbe said, is the sefer from the Rebbe, where the parents from the Tzedek Rebbe even, that's all it is.
Now the moshel says that if you polish too much, you will cause damage.
It's not good for the button.
Right.
So
now, if we are polishing too much, what happens eventually? What kind of damage is it doing?
What is it? That's a very intelligent question. That's a very intelligent question. So listen, all I can suggest is like this, that a button, the Rebbe explained in a certain place, that a button is made to join left and right together, right? If you have a button to join two sides of any beggar that you wear, the button brings to the union.
Yes.
He said, if you polish a button too much, then you damage the button.
Yes.
So instead of it doing what it's really supposed to do, it begins to waver slightly in what it's supposed to be doing.
Yes.
It doesn't carry out the yichud and the coming together of all the factors to produce a positive result.
Yes.
You understand what I said?
Yes.
And that's what appears to be the
Yes.
Speaking about the buttons, Goldschmidt sent me a message that it's ready.
Goldschmidt?
Goldschmidt sent me a message that it's ready.
Nee,
Goldschmidt.
Oh ja?
That's a bisschen name.
Tzfat?
Ja, it's a grace. It's zwischen zugegeben.
Is that your camera, Danny?
Speaking about the buttons, Goldschmidt gave me a message now in the middle of the shear that the hoisin is zugegeben.
Yeah. Very good.
Amen.
Is there a Reb Yankel, there's a wine for?
What do you want to know? Is there a what?
A wine for Reb Mazel.
Have you been a good boy, Rabbi Marzel? Amen. Have you been a good boy? Amen. I will put Brother Hashem. Amen. I don't know if I got a relief or not. L'chaim, l'chaim.
So I have a bottle of wine for you.
L'chaim bin.
In the car. You can't remember that.
I thought of calling you this afternoon. I was incapable of doing so. I was incapable of calling. L'chaim or l'bracha?
Fine.
I have an arrangement. I mean, last Shabbos, early afternoon after, we're bringing after early mincha.
Fine.
I want next Friday night to come to my house, okay? The time of the bracha.
Could I open that for you, please? I see you have a...
Can you open it for me? No thanks. I can handle it.
Thank you, sir.
That's all me and the Doro. I said I should have all.
Yeah, he got it. He got it. I sent.
You got it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And Matis.
So listen, guys, let's just examine for a moment. Could everybody maybe just be patient for a second? I just need to go for a minute to the bathroom.
Certainly.
Is that all right?
Certainly.
Everybody,
We can
I
come
should be
with
back
you.
in about 4 minutes. Thanks,
I go off. I go off.
Coming back.
I don't know what I'm going to wait for. We'll leave it blank for 4 minutes.
No, you can say that, say something.
You. A political announcement?
Then people go over the line. They're not to come back in 4 minutes.
Well, they heard him say these 5 things.
I think you shut it off. Sing something.
Sing?
Yeah.
It's called nigger.
Nigger.
Go ahead. You're live, man. It's fine. There you go. Hey! Hey!
bakema Tsafona vanegba Kama bakema Tsafona vanegba Kama bakema Tsafona vanegba Yama bakema Tsafona vanegba. Chaim I'm Yishai. Benji Ben.
Going off.
Israel, Chaim. Daniel, Chaim.
What's the difference?
Rav Marzel, Chaim. Yishai, Chaim. Yishai, Chaim. Yishai. Choter Yishai. Still can't.
You can edit it?
This Shabbos is the Yotza the Rochel Imenu.
Ooh.
Rochel Imenu is Yotza. Mama Rochel.
You can edit it?
Just do that.
Space. Get rid of the...
Do that.
I am not edit. If I edit, it's take a look.
It's Erev Shabbos.
Sorry about that.
We're happy to see you.
Yuda,
So,
tell him, Mordechai Ziv.
Chaim.
What's in Philadelphia?
Hello, Mordechai. We know you're out there. Just like
Chaim.
when you're with us.
Chaim.
We heard you're with us in
So,
the global audience.
based on...
Mordechai Ziv, so watch in Philadelphia, from
Oh,
Philadelphia.
Mordechai Ziv? Yeah.
In Philadelphia.
Shalom Aleichem, Mordechai. As of ever, you are a faithful member of the Shir. So just based on what the Rebbe says further towards the end of the Sikha, and because what is written in the words of our Rebbeim, what does it mean, Lech, Lecha? What does it mean that Hashem? So we have to take into account, like the Rebbe pointed out, that we're talking here about a person that's 75 years old, and he's by no means been idle for 75 years. And he's been thrown into a kibshon ha'esh, and he came out alive. He's had a sizable amount of what we call Mesiras Nefesh, not just stam. That's by the way, but important. That's one of the reasons why Avraham Avinu was so elevated by Hashem to the point that he was prepared to literally converse with him, but because he had Mesiras Nefesh. If you have Mesiras Nefesh, then you made the right connection. You made the right tie-up. Anyway, and yet nonetheless, and he's also gone out. He went out of Ur Kasdim to Haran. So Einoch Hanami Rashi says Haran wasn't a very good place. But it's brought down in the Medrashim that Haran had certain milas, and because of those milas, Avraham Avinu decided that for the time being that's where he would be. And he had his family with him, he had his father there and everything. And so he's achieved a tremendous amount, and he worked in Haran as a nefesh asher osu b'Haran. He made a lot of people close to Hashem and to Terosei in Haran also. He wasn't idle there by any means. Comes along Hashem and says to him, listen man, Lech Lecha. Yeah, you know, you've made a lot of steps forward, but I want you now to just leave all that behind. You have to go out. And that's a inner of what we call Shalei Be'erach, you understand? And therefore the expression is used, Lech Lecha. Could to go, I can only be described as going if I am no longer where I was. If I'm still, let's say, I still have 1 foot and shoe in the town where I was, but I'm sort of, the other foot in the shoe is outside the border, I haven't gone from that town yet because I'm still partially there. Going means that I progress in a way that has no error and value and connection with where I was before. then I can be described as going. Otherwise, I haven't gone. I'm still here. Yeah? Even the fact that Hashem said to him, Lech, Lecha, implies that it's demanded of Avraham Avinu to look at everything he's achieved up to now. Do you realize what that is? I mean, and in Haran, he turned Haran into a place where there was Gila Elikus, and there were people who came for Gerim and all sorts of people there. They came in Haran also, despite its bad name originally. Yeah? But he's done a tremendous amount of wrong. He says, sorry, Lech Lecha incomparably changed from where you are now to what I want of you. And because of that, we can suggest that Avraham Avinu never questioned anything. He didn't say, wait a minute, what's going to happen? How's this all going to be? What do you say about what I've done up till now? Yeah? Not a word of any sign of any doubt or inquiry on the part of Avraham Avinu, what's going to be. And he just goes out into what we might call the unknown. He didn't really know what was going to be. And then all of a sudden, with a famine and with Mitzrayim, all sorts of Ma'aseh. So we see that the whole concept of Lech Lecha implies the idea of Shalom Be'era, what you've done up to now. So for a great person like Avraham Avinu, that's an immense demand. And therefore Hashem says to him, you've got to go out of three, as it were, levels. First of all, you've got to go out of Artzcho. Yeah? And so what is Artzcho? Artzcho means your land. In other words, he turned Haran into his sort of place. It has already become very affected in spirituality on the day of Rome. And so what was at the beginning a not very well-reputed place became Artzcho. It became Avraham Avinu's, like his place. And on the contrary, if purely instead of Avraham Avinu, he would have stayed there. Comes along and Hashem says, you got to go out of that. And he says, wait a minute, this is Artzi. I've turned this into a place which is sensitive to divinity. So Hashem says to him, you've got incomparably bigger things to do, and you got to get moving. Artzcho. Hashem Meiladetcho means where you were born. So Avraham Avinu already did that. He already left where you were born. So why does Hashem say, Meiladetcho, where you already left Meiladetcho? Yeah, the word Meiladetcho, even in its simple meaning, implies what you were born with. How would we say? How you were born, where you were born, or place of birth. But that implies things that are usual and, how would we say, inborn traits by you, or let's say customary things that your understanding and your system have accustomed you to do over the years. And that's good things also. In Kedusha, not necessarily bad things, there's a good thing when a person's accustomed to doing it that way. That's the way he does it, and that's the way he learns. That's the way he approaches most of his activities. That's good. The Rebbe said it can be in Tachlis HaKedusha. Nonetheless, Hashem said to him, I'm sorry, anything by you from now on, which is like a custom, we've got to forget that word. There's no customary anymore. We're only going to be going, we learned in the Sikha, Michodosh Lechadas. We're going to be learning the whole time only new and incomparable, better things every day, hello. And therefore it's written, Choloik v'noi saya. He had to go and travel even the whole time. He had to become a, how would you call it, everlastingly moving individual, despite everything that he'd done, Sure.
I'm a Halech.
Yeah. But you realize what that means. Up to now, he's also been a Mahalek.
But you got to
He
go
hasn't
higher.
been messing around, all of a sudden, yeah, go out of your mind. The third thing is base or vichol. So Chassidus explains that the word chokhmah, that the koyach chokhmah is called Abba. In Kabbalah it's called Abba. Or vichol means your whole way of using your brain and your moichin, you know what I mean? The whole base of vichol, means what you got and you've inherited, and it's like part of your inheritance that you live with in your chokhmah and in your brain, in the delicacies of appreciation and understanding. Avraham Avinu has used his chokhmah in a tremendous brought down in the great Madrashim. How Avraham Avinu understood Hashem and how he appreciated him, how he worked it all out, and he spread it around amongst the nations and everything. It was in Elamai, he's got to leave the whole house of his understanding and his chokhmah and go into a whole new Shalei Be'er, go, Lech. If you will do it that way, then you come to a oretz, you'll come to a life in the physical world, in this low world, Arecho, which will be the way I will show you. It will be a whole new thing, despite everything you've done up to now. Well, Avraham Avinu says, this is what Hashem said. Vayelech Avram kasher diber elov Hashem. Avram went the way Hashem wanted him to go. You understand? So Hashem looked at him and Hashem said, that's the story. So this person moves in. Hashem says to him, I'm gonna give you the Eretz Yisrael. What is Eretz Yisrael? Eretz Yisrael is the perfect place where if you really work hard, you can change the world into a emes adir lo yisbarach. And Eretz Yisrael has a special blessing in itself, that if we will really work at it the way the Tariag mitzvahs of the Torah tell us, we can change it into a dir lo yisbarach, which will then spread and give the credit to make the whole rest of the world a dir. But Eretz Yisrael is like the center of the whole thing. And so the bris milah that Hashem gave Avraham Avinu is like the way to carry that out. And what is the bris milah? That in the physical body, like we said, there's a sign and there's a link between the divine and the physical. They're no longer separate. You don't have to be a philosopher. You can have, in your physical body, you can have the union with Hashem and the connection. Bris. Bris means a covenant of a very high level, with Hashem. So Avraham Avinu realized that was like the ultimate perfection of what's really demanded of him. And he said, here I go. And he took the knife and he cut himself. He himself circumcised himself. It was pretty heavy going. A man at 99 years old. It's not bad going. Look. That's the final promise of Eretz Yisrael, is davki by the bris milah, because that's what Hashem wants that we should do in Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael, we have to make a dira b'tachtoinim, nicht a dira, in olam ha'briya. In olam ha'yas, a dira lo yisbori. Davki in tachton she'enu, tachton lamata himanu. Davki to bring and unite the two opposites all together. And that's what Avraham Avinu lived through with the bris milah. And that was like the Nesinas Koya to all the generations to come, that after a whole series of inyanim, they would be able to also carry out their mitzvahs in a way that they would link the absolute highest levels in their mind with the physical world. So what does it mean, to us? It means that it's a demanding thing, but that's the way, and that's the way the first year did it. That's the way where, if we'll only be ready, Hashem will give koyah, So it's not an easy thing. But we got to go out incomparably each day. Like we got to see a new Lecha. Okay, that's what he says. Every day it's a new step upward. My limb kodesh. Things are always moving. You got to be prepared to, how do you call it, ain't a rock. You have to go incomparably better the whole time.
It sounds like a
That's
Benini.
the demand of the Rebbe.
It sounds like a Benini.
Huh?
It sounds like a Benini.
What did he
It
say?
sounds like a Bain Oni.
Yeah. I'm not sure I got the point.
It sounds like a Benoni.
Yeah. Oh, but in a way, it's even more than the Bain. You understand? Because the Bain, and he fights the whole time, but he doesn't really, incomparably, go beyond where he is, you know. That's why we need to comfort him. Over here, the Rebbe is saying that you got to aim for high, very high, and you got to go incomparably better. So, Eino Hanami, the Bainani probably manages that to get a Vitali, you follow? But in a way, the Bainani has another nobility that he's all the time fighting, and he never gives in, and he always wins, even though he doesn't win in a pneumistic way, but he wins practically. And that's also a tremendous thing in its own right. That's another, in its own delicacy. Look, guys, this is it's an amazing thing. And now that's why we understand that Lech is a parsha klali. It's a general parsha. And in our learning with the Rebbe, we're going to find that probably all the parshas are like that. They're all klalit. They're all general. Over here we can see that because of the whole, going out and leaving everything behind, and going out even of your whole way of thinking, Chokhmah is the source of how to understand it. It's the source. Even leave that behind, go. That's Mesiras Nefesh. That's the whole secret of Avraham Avinu. Was brought down that the Rebbeim said that who patach et hatzinor leMesiras Nefesh. He opened the pipeline. So for Mesiras Nefesh. So that means that once the pipeline's open, then we get a bit of the water reaching us. Although by Avraham Avinu there wasn't any pipeline, of Mesiras Nefesh flowing into his being. He did a mamish of his own self. And that's amazing. That is the emesis shalom ba'erev, when you can be Mesiras Nefesh. He didn't jump off there and buy a state building or something. He made emerson Mesiras Nefesh of giving it all away, ein roch, and not resting on his merits, what he's achieved up to now. So from that it comes out, now it makes sense. When you think about it, the Rebbe was one of the great examples in the whole human history of somebody who never rested on his merits. The Rebbe was never satisfied, and he not only was not satisfied, but he was never at rest. He never took a few days to take it easy. The Rebbe was never in a state of rest. What was his secret? I'm not sure, but that was the secret. That the Rebbe indicates to us in his great work on the secret. That's where he really hopes that you will be also. Yes, you got to be in a way that you're not resting on your merit. You're going forward. Yeah, moving forward, and that's Lech. And ultimately speaking, Rashi tells us an amazing thing. That even though it's Mesiras Nefesh and it's absolutely no Hagbolas, ultimately speaking, that's your emes of benefit. It looks to you as if you're having a hard time, and you're a slave and you're giving yourself away, and the whole time Mesiras Nefesh and does that. Although ultimately speaking, that's the best for you. That is your hanua. That's your take. You follow? Rubino gave that over to all the generations. You never lose out through Mesiras Nefesh. And that's the unbelievable greatness of Rashi. Rashi, every word that Rashi writes rings over to all the generations. That's Philip knows. The Vamela guys, we should have a good Shabbos. It's a big piece of work. But we got the promise of Eretz Yisrael, and the Rebbe said we got the 10 countries coming up very swiftly. So we got to get ready. Got to be ready. We got to move in, and all the generations were mishtoikek. They all long very much for this. We got to make sure that we're the generation that we'll actually see it properly. That's right, Hashem. And with the Rebbe together, always together, in the 10 countries. And Amela, Binya Beis Amida, Yerushalayim, Kodesh, take them yet, man.
Amen.
Amen.